Hey gang, this is Simba. Welcome back to the Lions Den Crypto, where we're going to break down some of the market making moves and also breaking down some charts. The momentum for the crypto market still continues, even though we have retraced a little bit, forming some support for the market for some of these major altcoins and meme coins. But we are looking very, very good, and we have some good news for the crypto industry. With that said, let's break it down. All right. So taking a look at the crypto bubble, we're seeing some red. We're seeing some of these retracement after this crazy run that we've had for the last couple of days. Right now, Radium, Pengu, PLX is leading with some gains. But let's go break it down. Let's take a look at Bitcoin and Ethereum just to start off and kind of see where we currently are with the market. Now, taking a look at Bitcoin on the daily chart, right, we just came back from that rebound from that 74k level, and we had a good run, right, starting from towards the middle of April, and May has been looking good. Right now we are in May 14th, almost the half of the month, and we're almost touching those all-time highs, right? And now we're starting to form this base over here. We're starting to form a little base right around here. Now let's go ahead and go down to the lower time frame, that 4 hour. As you can see right now, we're forming this nice base. This is a good base right here. I think if we can defend it, we're definitely going to all-time highs, right? There's just so much money, so much inflow into Bitcoin, that this is almost inevitable. Now, from last week, I did mention that we might possibly, I think this is going to be a rare chance, but we might possibly retrace back to one of the major supports on the daily, which is about 90k, 91k, and then from there I do expect a climb that's going to take us to all-time highs. We are really not that far out. Bitcoin is literally about 5-6% away from all-time highs, and once we break through that all-time high, we are gone. This is a rocket ship. Now let's take a look at Ethereum. Ethereum had this incredible rise, just the same as Bitcoin, right? Starting on about April 22, we had a nice rise, right? We broke through that 50% Fibonacci level, right, on the daily. And now we're climbing, and we broke through that 61% Fibonacci level. Now, I do think we might come back and retrace, kind of try that support at that 61 Fib level on the daily, right? And you kind of see that 200 moving average, right, is really closing up on it, right, creating that resistance. Now let's dive into the lower time frame, right? So as you can see, we're forming a nice support at that 2,400, that 2,400 price point, and I believe that we're going to come back and retest this, and then before we really start to go and make more highs. But I'm as bullish as can be. And I'm looking at some of these prices, and this may be some of the last times that we really see these lows for these tokens, right? So with that, let's jump into some of the major market moving news in the crypto market. This one for everybody in New York City, right? This is great news. New York City, whatever you say, is still the greatest city in the world, right? With the U.S. being the #1 country, right? New York City is still the best. We've been going through some ridiculousness with immigration and the lawlessness, but New York is still the top city in the world. Now, New York City Mayor Eric Adams, right over here, make New York the crypto capital of the world. So this is what the mayor of New York has been saying. He really wants to make New York the crypto capital of the world. This is sharing the same sentiment that Donald Trump also has. We've seen Donald Trump say the same thing, and Eric Adams seems like he's also joining along as well. Now, New York Mayor Eric Adams announced the city's first official crypto summit that will be coming up this coming Monday, right, on the 20th, which is phenomenal to see. This is look, the #1 city in the world, right, is now hosting crypto summit, and the mayor is over here saying that it's going to be the capital of crypto. This is awesome. So Adams reaffirmed his goal to make New York the crypto capital of the globe, right? This is phenomenal to see. You can't really be any more bullish on Bitcoin with this kinds of quotes and the things that the New York City mayor is really saying, right? And he also mentioned that Adams said the New York City rivals California's Silicon Valley in blockchain technology innovation, right? So we know that Silicon Valley is really leading in software, right? But New York is slowly and becoming the blockchain technology capital, right? That also Florida as well. I think Florida is doing a phenomenal job as well down there, right? So this is great to see. That's just one of the many reasons I believe that Bitcoin is about to explode. Bitcoin is about to explode. There's just so much inflow into the crypto market, right? So absolutely awesome. Another great news that we heard in the past 24 hours is Aave and Uniswap break records as ETH surges past 2,500. Right, really bringing DeFi back. If you guys remember, if you've been in the crypto industry for a while, you remember 2021 DeFi summer, right? This was a hot girl summer for DeFi, where we saw a lot of platforms really come out like Uniswap and Aave go absolutely berserk, right? And really introduce everyone to DeFi. Right now, Aave hits a record $25 billion TVL and is capturing 20% of DeFi's market share and surpasses rivals like Lido, which is on Binance, and Eugene Lair in liquidity dominance. But Uniswap is also doing a phenomenal job. Right, OG Uniswap, right, surpasses $3 trillion in total trading volume, handling over 3.6 billion in daily transactions. Oh my goodness, 3.6 billion dollars in daily transactions is absolutely enormous, right? So, look, this is one of the reasons I think that Ethereum is going to do a phenomenal job. They have a giant like Uniswap really handling this amount of daily transaction. Now, Uniswap is securing 24% of global DEX volume. Don't sleep on Uniswap. Uniswap is going to do just fine. Now let's take a look at Aave and see how they're performing, right? And see how Aave is doing right now. Because I think that actually let's start with Uniswap. Let's start with Uniswap and taking a look at the weekly. Now this is the weekly chart for Uniswap. You see that on this fib level, it really retraced down to that 50%. Right, it retraced down to that 50%, which is a really good support zone that it touched multiple times, especially after that run up from 2021. Hot girl summer for DeFi was insane. Bringing Uniswap really from 51 cents, and this motherfucker ran. It ran. It was absolutely insane, guys. I don't know if you guys remember this hot girl summer for DeFi. It was crazy. It was absolutely madness. Imagine something going from literally 50 cents and all the way to what was the all-time high of $44, right? Of course, the bear market came through, and we did retrace to the 50% fib level, right, with multiple touches. So this is a great support zone, and I think this is probably the last time that we touch this before we start to make all-time highs, right? At least head towards the next leg, which should be around here before we really explode. And a lot of this charts for altcoins really look very similar, right? It's either we're retraced to the 51% fib or retraced to the 61% fib, right? And let's take a look at Aave. Let me see if I can find it here. Aave. Let's take a look at Aave. Too many. There we go. Now Aave also looks something similar as well, right? We have retraced to that 52%. He had a good base at that $53 support zone, and this thing is actually really close to its all-time high, right? It's just how much money is already in here and how trusted Aave is as a DeFi platform. People are staking a lot of money into this platform, and we haven't really seen it retrace as much as the other DeFi platform, and they really haven't had any trouble. They haven't really had any exploits. We've seen so many DeFi platforms have exploits, have problems and issues, but Aave is really one of the best out here in the industry, and the chart really shows it. It's only a matter of time till this thing explodes, looking at its TVL. So Aave, Uniswap, they're doing a phenomenal job, and they're definitely pillars in the Ethereum ecosystem as Ethereum really starts to pick up and gain its speed. Looking phenomenal, guys, looking phenomenal. I think DeFi summer this might be another DeFi summer, right? And also a lot of other things as well. But let's jump on to another news. This one, Coinbase. So Coinbase coin stock surges about 16% to 241 following its debut on the New York Stock Exchange after joining the S&P 500. So Coinbase officially joined the S&P 500, which is phenomenal. Coinbase is one of the best exchanges, especially if you're located in the United States. That's essentially what most people use, right? It's very easy to use, and it's on, it's a real company on the stock market, right? And they've actually they're in the S&P 500, which is a huge deal, right? So Coinbase's inclusion in the S&P 500 is expected to increase institutional demand, with 5.3 trillion from institutional investors set to buy coin shares. This is phenomenal, right? This also, Coinbase being added to the S&P 500 really means institutions are having trust, right? And they're looking forward to the growth of the crypto industry, right? So it's a crypto-only platform and exchange, and for them to be added to the S&P 500 is absolutely enormous. This just means a lot of money is coming to the crypto industry. You really can't be more bullish. And I've always had this in mind and always thought that we're going to see more and more crypto platforms and really start to get into the S&P 500. Some of these altcoins are going to be future Fortune 500 companies, right? I know that Coinbase is not, they don't really specifically have a token, even though they do have base that token, but it's not a token that you can buy, right? So buying that coin token, it give you some exposure to potentially what coin is. You know what I'm saying? And it'll be cool. It'll be interesting to see if you own stocks of coin, maybe you'll get an airdrop of the base token. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But I think it's a good bet. It's a good bet for sure. And with that, let's actually take a look at coin on the New York Stock Exchange and see how they're performing. Kind of look at the chart, right? So this is coin. They're also, it looks very, very similar to a lot of the altcoins. You really initiating or kicking off in around May 2021. Also tracking that bear market that we've seen, right? Really launching and going to $422, which was its all-time high, and retracing to $32 by January 2023. Look, if you bought coin at this price, hey, congratulations. This would have been a great time to also buy some options or some leaps. You know what I'm saying? Phenomenal. They've been just on a straight climb up. And that announcement, being included into the S&P 500, you see this green candle really made the price jump. Now it's created this gap. So this announcement, let's go down to the 4-hour chart, right? The announcement really drove coin from about $210, $209, and now it's sitting at that $256, right? And I think they're just getting started. All this money, just being included into the S&P 500, a lot of institutions are bringing money to it, right? And institutions don't initially just buy in large chunks; they just buy little by little, but in big amounts, right? Way more than retail, and we're talking about billions of dollars. You know what I'm saying? We could easily see Coinbase have $1 trillion market cap. Right now it's sitting about a $65 billion market cap, but being included in the S&P 500, at one time this thing is about to have a $1 trillion market cap. It's essentially the bank for millennials, right, and the younger generation in the US. For myself, like the credit card that I use, or the card that I use, is the Coinbase card, right? So all my business, whatever I'm doing on the blockchain, I use the Coinbase card just to transact and do normal things in the real world. So they're a phenomenal project, and they're very pro crypto. They're very active in forming pro crypto policies. As Brian Armstrong is really a phenomenal CEO, right? There's a bright future for Coinbase. I think even doing leaps at this price will be a good idea. Not financial advice. Financial advice, not financial advice. Not financial advice. Right. But anyway, let's move on to one of the other top stories here. Now, this was exciting. If you're an ETH maxi or somebody who's had Ethereum for such a long time, finally we're starting to see good news consecutively. And the chart for Ethereum is also doing phenomenal, is doing well. The other day we just had a 20% increase in just one day, but the Ethereum momentum continues as Foundation unveils $1 trillion security plan, right? The Ethereum Foundation has unveiled a $1 trillion security initiative, a wide-ranging effort to scale Ethereum security infrastructure to a level capable of supporting trillions of dollars of on-chain value. This is absolutely massive, right? Now we know that Ethereum is highly invested in, and we're talking about the likes of BlackRock, right, which want to create real world tokenized assets on Ethereum. And we see also Coinbase as well. We just discussed Coinbase, right? They've built their layer 2 base also on Ethereum, right? So in order for them to benefit and see the real value, like Ethereum needs trillions of dollars in on-chain value, right, or millions and billions of transaction, and this is what they're aiming for. And to kind of see them discuss and the foundation to be going towards that direction, it was only inevitable, right? Let's take a look at the Ethereum price and how they have been performing. Right now on the weekly chart, right, we see Ethereum since 2017 really started out it started out well, had a huge retracement. Imagine Ethereum in 2020, 2017, 2016, right? Seeing Ethereum about $6, $7, right? And really running up on that bull run to 1500, retracing, right, to that 50 fib level. Again, you guys don't miss it. When you see that 50 fib level, man, it's a very, very strong one. But, it ran up again from the last bull market almost to 5K. Actually just about, almost about 5K, right? But let's go down into the daily chart. Now the daily chart, we had a massive explosion, right? Just about a couple of weeks ago, where Ethereum was sitting at 1500, and it's almost like a straight line up. It was almost like a straight line up, just running towards that $2,700, right? So Ethereum is looking good, right? Just breaking that 50 fib level, breaking that 61 fib level, right? And really, really being tested. Now this 2200 moving average is creating that resistance, right? Just like Bitcoin. Oh no, just like Bitcoin. Let's take a look at Ethereum. Really create, yes, a lot of tokens are, that 200 moving average is really a strong support, right? I've seen this as well in other tokens, other altcoins. I think we saw this on Uniswap. Let me see. But Ethereum is looking good, and they're forming that base. Let's go down to the 4-hour. Right now we see that we have that base. We have that base on that 2,400 price point. And again, I do think we might retrace. We might retrace and really test this support. But once we do, this thing is gone. This thing is gone. There's just a lot of money coming in. Again, we just talked about Coinbase, right? Coinbase releases options for Bitcoin and Ethereum. More money coming in. More money coming in. Another one, which is really Robinhood, right? Robinhood is over here trying to compete. Right, I think the two biggest exchanges that I use, especially for millennials, people in their 30s or younger, or in their 20s, is really for crypto is definitely Coinbase, but for options and also increasingly crypto as well is Robinhood. So Robinhood is starting to make its moves as well, and going towards the crypto market, because looking at their business, this is where they actually make most of their revenue, right? It's through the crypto. Now they don't offer as much crypto assets or options as Coinbase, but they only offer a few, and this is where they're making their money, not from equities, not from stocks, but from crypto. And they don't even have nearly the amount of options as Coinbase does. So they see the opportunity, they see where the world is headed, and the world is headed towards crypto, right? So Robinhood to acquire Kevin O'Leary backed WonderFi for $179 million, right? The deal is expected to close in the first half of 2025. Now Robinhood is now WonderFi is one of the, Mr. Wonderful. Mr. Wonderful is a hilarious guy, right? He's also a serious and hilarious guy. You guys probably know him from Shark Tank, right? Which is probably one of my favorite shows to watch. But he's an incredible entrepreneur. He's built multiple businesses, and the last couple of years and months, he's really gone full ape, right? Going full ape into the crypto industry. And you can see him on a lot of these major news sources, traditional media, talking about Bitcoin, right? Talking about the future of crypto. And to see Robinhood really acquire, actually created this DeFi platform, just like the likes of Trump and the family, right? He created WonderFi, which is a DeFi platform, and to see Robinhood acquire his company, I think this is great. This is great news. And also Robinhood has to compete. They have to compete with the likes of Coinbase. So this is phenomenal work. Let's take a look at also, Robinhood as a stock itself. But this news definitely did push the price for Robinhood, also WonderFi as well. Now, just jumping down to the daily, to the 4-hour chart for Robinhood. Robinhood, actually, let's start at a bigger view. Robinhood has been just like Coinbase, right? Coinbase actually picked up a lot faster, but Robinhood also launched around 2021. Right, a stock, not the application or platform itself, but in 2021 went all the way to its all-time high, which was about $85, and retraced really, right, coming down to $8. This was brutal. If you initially bought this, right at the top, especially, it was absolutely brutal as we went all the way to $7. But it created this really, really nice base. This is beautiful base. This was the time to get in, right? This is the time to get in and really start to buy those options, especially those long leaps. You heard me multiple times. Like some of the best investments that you can make is really buying leaps in companies that are going to be here for the future. Look, some of these leaps can outdo meme coins, believe it or not, for real. If you know what I'm saying. If you've traded options before, you know what I'm talking about. But anyways, Robinhood did a phenomenal job and just has been on a skyrocket. And this 50 EMA is really holding tight this Robinhood chart, and it's heading towards its all-time highs, right? It's heading towards that all-time highs, and I think Robinhood is going to do phenomenal work. Now let's take a look at its market cap. Its market cap is about $54 billion. I believe Coinbase is around $66 billion. So I think these are going to be the two competing exchanges in the U.S. Is going to be Coinbase and Robinhood, right? Now Robinhood has been lagging when it comes to crypto assets on their platform, but they're starting to make moves, right? Just like how they're buying WonderFi, right, to incorporate that DeFi into their platform. So incredible work by these guys, even though they did screw us up with GME, but they weren't the only exchange, right? That debacle was crazy. It's a funny story as well. That debacle with GME and whatnot is actually what really made me go all in on crypto, right? Because it just opened my eyes that crypto is what a real free market is, right? But anyways, that's a story. That's a story for another day. That is a story for another day. But let me see. I think there's also a couple of good stories that I saw, which I thought were phenomenal as well. Just to give you guys some more insights, right? The Don himself, the GOAT, Trump. Now, Trump is bullish on crypto. So President Trump just said that he loves cryptocurrency, right? He loves cryptocurrency and predicts the market could soar past $10 trillion. Now, the current market cap is $3.3 trillion, and that's a potential 3x surge from where we are, right? So this is not even speaking for altcoins and some of these meme coins, right? This is just speaking on the total market cap for the whole industry. Imagine what numbers that we're going to see. There's just so much bullishness. Having the leader of the free world bullish on cryptocurrency, not just only bullish, also highly invested in Bitcoin. He loves Bitcoin, right? He's also built platforms like Worldify. He has NFT projects. Like, this man is all in the crypto industry and is pushing heavily for a positive policy for the crypto industry. So you can't really be more bullish than that. And not only that, Trump is really pushing Jerome Powell, right? He's pushing Jerome Powell to cut those interest rates. Now imagine all the positive news that we're having in the crypto industry, and then also add the Fed slashing interest rates. Like, this was just going to create a massive explosion, and you're seeing this happen. You know what I'm saying? The art of the deal. We just had a deal with China in which those interest rates were really lowered between the two countries, right? And now we're having pro-crypto legislation, right? And then now we're just about to have those rates decreased, right? Those slashed. Like, everything that was holding crypto back is literally getting put to the side, right? And we're just heading in a beautiful, like, we have a beautiful momentum right now. Like, if there was ever a time to be bullish, this is definitely the time. Now, one or two more of insights. This tweet, I really love to see this right now. Solana dApps earned over $11 million in the last 24 hours, really capturing 60% of the total dApp revenue across all chains. Now, this is from DeFi Llama, and Solana Flow actually posted this, but it's showing application revenue by chain. And as you can see, like, Solana is just destroying every other chain when it comes to app revenue, right? And then that's followed by Hyperliquid, which is kind of surprised to see, but at the same time not surprised, because Hyperliquid is really becoming one of the premier exchanges, right? And they're competing with the likes of Binance and Coinbase and whatnot. But what makes them special is that they are a decentralized exchange, right? But they also have those centralized exchange like speed, right? That they're making ridiculous amounts of revenue, right? And Solana as well. Probably most of that revenue is probably coming from Pump That Fund, right? And these meme coins. But it's just good to see and kind of compare the chains by the amount of revenue these apps on their chains are making, right? And we can see BNB and Ethereum. Man, I'm kind of sad for Ethereum, right? It's kind of disappointing for Ethereum because they have the most developers and they also have the most dApps on the chain, but yet they're lagging behind hugely compared to Solana, right? Ethereum just needs to start to compete. I know we're starting to see some good news for Ethereum, but man, this is such a huge gap, right? This is such a huge gap, but it's good to kind of see these numbers. Hopefully we start to see Ethereum and some of the other chains start to compete. Otherwise, if this at this rate, Solana might just have 90% and really just dominate on-chain transactions and dApps, right? This is kind of one of the reasons why you see a lot of developers kind of going to Solana instead of other chains. But it's really also good to see Aave Liquid, since they just kind of came into the scene very, very recently, and they just started to gain so much market share. So big claps for Hyper Liquid. Just one more insight for the day, which I thought was interesting, right? This chart kind of compares. Now, CryptoQuant is kind of comparing, the diverging BTC inflows on Binance, whales versus retail. Now, the overall total inflow across all investor categories remain much lower than what we've seen in the peak market phases. So this chart is pretty much telling us that, compared to the past cycles, we're not seeing as much retail really get into the crypto market. Now the opposite of that is that we're seeing a lot more of, institutional money flowing into the crypto industry, right? I think retail might just be exhausted, right? It might be exhausted, but to kind of see that they're a little bit behind compared to the last cycles is kind of interesting, right? But, retail money, institutional money is completely different type of money. Institutions have billions and trillions of dollars, right? Retail can only push a coin or, push these crypto assets so far. The retail will come. They will come. But even that, institutions are really where the money is, right? And with that said, guys, everything is looking phenomenal. Again, we did retrace from some of the crazy gains that we had, right? But this was kind of expected. We can't just have a straight line up. Now we're starting to create more of these support zones before we really start to climb up. With that said, guys, I hope you enjoyed the insights. And if you did, please hit that like and subscribe button, and please follow me on X for more insights and some more news on the crypto industry. We're headed into the biggest bull market of all time, right? But for you to benefit and for you to eat, you have to have stake in the game, right? Pick your favorite altcoins, whatever your favorite meme coin, whatever it is, but you do have to participate. With that said, guys, much love. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye-bye.